Here's Matt Powell to misunderstand evolution again.
Atheist YouTuber Aaron Ra called Matt Powell a liar for stating that evolution teaches that all life came from a rock.
This guy is the answer to his own question of how dumb one can get. He knows that no one believes we came from a rock, because many people have corrected him on this over the years, and I've explained that to him myself a few times.
At 0 point in our ancestry were we ever descended from a rock. Nobody, nowhere, never, ever thought this. You have been wrong your whole life.
Creationists love to spin the fact that the chemicals out of which life is made were at some point inside of rocks and minerals as a claim that people descended from rocks. That's not really the same thing. Even a creationist can acknowledge that at least some of the chemicals in our bodies came from rocks because a lot of the sodium in our systems came from salt, and salt is a rock. Other chemicals in our bodies were once inside of rocks before they were absorbed by plants and eaten by people. That's the only sense in which anyone who believes in evolution is claiming that early life forms came from rocks, but creationists try to portray this as somehow ridiculous.
This is the grandfather of all of biology. In fact, this is the ancestor of all humans, according to Darwinian evolution.
Ancestor implies that rocks reproduce and have rock babies that eventually evolved into humans. That's not what evolution says, and I think Matt knows that. Darwinian evolution doesn't even make any claims about the origin of life.
Interestingly enough, we didn't just descend from fish or from primates. According to Darwinism, we actually descended from rocks, and I'm going to prove that to you here in a moment. Here's from a scientific paper called Genesis: Rocks, Minerals, and the Geochemical Origin of Life. It states that rocks and minerals must have played key roles in virtually every phase of life's emergence, and they may have even acted as life's first genetic system.
I don't know what that means, but it still seems like quite a stretch to interpret that as meaning that we descended from a rock that had rock babies.
So here we have it. Life's first genetic system.
I keep correcting you on this, but you do not correct yourself. That's why after 20 years, you still repeat the idea that I'm supposed to believe that we came from a rock, even though I've seen a dozen people correct you on this very point, and you've never fixed it.
Here's from Neil deGrasse Tyson. He said, "We are not figuratively, but literally stardust." Here's from Lawrence Krauss. He said, "Every atom in your body came from a star that exploded, and the atoms in your left hand probably came from a different star than your right hand. It really is the most poetic thing I know about physics. You are all stardust."
How is that proof that evolution claims that we descended from rocks? This is actually consistent with the Genesis account that says that God made humans from dust. Why do you mock the idea that people came from rocks when you believe that humans came from dust?
No one believes we came from a rock. Every time you've ever said otherwise, it's always been wrong. The textbooks you read from don't say that we came from rocks either. I know that this is one of your favorite lies, that you've repeated it every day for decades. And I know you don't have enough accountability to stop telling that lie just because you've been proven wrong as a matter of public record. But your followers, donors, and minions will notice how dishonest you are the next time you repeat this lie, because they'll know you know better.
You once said that rocks conceived. Do you still believe that?
We know that evolution teaches that because it is, like I said earlier, it's defined as chemical evolution.
Originally, Matt said that it was Darwinian evolution, which doesn't say anything about rocks, but even chemical evolution does not say that rocks were conceived. How chemicals evolve is not the same as how organisms evolve. They don't evolve by conception. Not even all life forms reproduce by conception. Only sexual organisms do that.
And then number two, I can actually show you a paper that actually explains this. So I'm going to go to the paper right now, actually. The title of the paper is that you owe your life to a rock, Mr. Jones.
Does Matt not understand that he needs minerals to survive? Calcium comes from rocks. Sodium comes from rocks. Potassium comes from rocks. Many organisms can't survive without these chemicals that come from rocks. Saying that organisms need chemicals that come from rocks is not the same as saying that organisms descended from rocks.
You owe your life to a rock. Erosion of metal-rich granite long ago set the stage for multicellular organisms.
Is Matt really so obtuse that he can't see the difference between that claim and the claim that we descended from rocks?
Check this out. This is literally what your theory is saying. It says, "Thank goodness for granite." This is how the article starts out. Thank goodness for granite. You know what? I would thank God for life, not rock.
Well, the article doesn't thank rock. It said, "Thank goodness."
Thank God that we're alive. Thank goodness for granite. If not for the formation and subsequent erosion of large quantities of metal-rich granite. These heavy metal elements, Mr. Jones, had to erode from the granite that somehow came here by chance. A rock that we can't create on purpose somehow created itself by chance. And then when it was raining for 2 million years, it eroded the rocks to a point where multicellular life would now be able to use those chemical compounds to survive. That is what evolution teaches. That is chemical evolution.
Yeah, that's not the same at all as rocks being conceived or people being descended from rocks. Early organisms used chemicals from rocks the same way people use them today. They are nutrients. Do you deny that we need minerals to survive? Do you deny that those minerals came from rocks?
And that is the fundamental of the theory.
Not the theory of Darwinism.
I'd have to read that again. I did read it once, but I'd have to read that again to make sure.
It is what we're saying. So I'm not lying. You accuse me of lying.
Life are already on this planet, though.
I'm open to the very real possibility that Matt just doesn't understand the difference between descending from a rock and the fact that many organisms need minerals to live, which is all the article he cited was saying.
What's that?
Some of the ingredients were already on this planet.
Yes, but the ingredients for life would not have assembled themselves if it weren't for the heavy metal elements that came out of the granite rock when it was being rained on for 2 million years, according to the model.
Does Matt disagree with this? He sounds incapable of accepting that life forms have minerals in them and that minerals came from rocks. I don't understand why he paints this as something ridiculous. Well, yes, I do, really. It's for propaganda purposes.
So single life...
Yep. Sorry, go on.
I was going to say, so single-celled organisms could exist without it, but multicellular organisms, according to evolution, could not have existed, according to this paper, could not have existed unless these heavy metal elements were eroded from the rocks.
And we would die of malnutrition today if we didn't continue to consume these chemicals that came from rocks.
So when you come on here and say, nobody believes, or when you get on your channel, nobody believes that we came from rocks.
Nobody believes that we descended from rocks. Minerals were essential nutrients to early organisms just as they are to us today. Do you really believe that the claim that we have minerals that come from rocks in our bodies is the same as claiming that we come from rocks or descended from rocks? That's like saying that someone who gets their nutrients from beef descended from or came from a cow.
That's just a lie. You're just hearing that from other atheist YouTubers. Because this is what evolution teaches. If evolution teaches that the earth was a hot, molten ball of rock,
it doesn't, because evolution is a biological theory, not a geological one.
And then it rained on the rocks for millions of years, and out of that soup came me and you over generations and variations.
Not just over generations, minerals still incorporate themselves into our bodies every time we eat them.
That is what evolution teaches then, is that we evolved from rocks, that we descended from the chemical elements contained in these rocks.
Is getting your sodium from salt the same as descending from salt? Is getting your calcium from chalk the same as descending from chalk? That's some unnecessarily dramatic music to put behind a guy just derping out on a live stream.
So that is the model.
I'll have to read up on that because I didn't anticipate that question.
I'm not trying to be down on you, Mr. Jones, but isn't it kind of not a good thing to get on video and to bash me and say, Matt Powell's a liar, he's just making all this stuff up, he's disgusting?
Is it really all that much of a stretch to say that it's at least misleading to claim that the fact that organisms need minerals to survive means that we descended from rocks?
When I have sources for everything that I brought forth today, sources for literally every claim that you said I've lied about, I've brought sources forward for.
And absolutely none of them say that we descended from a rock.
So I would just encourage you to make sure to do research before you jump onto discussions like this, and don't call me a liar for making a certain claim that has been verified in this discussion.
Is it a lie, or is it just really dumb to say that the fact that we need minerals to survive means that we descended from a rock?
Because it is a true claim. This is the model.
The rock thing, no, I don't believe for 1 second, no. Because I think you're oversimplifying, because you said on video that a rock... You said on video... I was quoting the paper. You said on video that a rock conceived.
Either Matt believes that a rock did it with another rock and made rock babies, or he has a, I think deliberately, misleading definition of conceived.
What I said was...
Can you tell me how a rock conceives?
Can you say that again? I can barely hear you.
Hold on, I need a minute to think up some bullshit answer to your question.
Are you asking me about
you
how a rock
said-
conceives?
You said on video, a rock, they believe, your exact words, they believe a rock conceived.
Correct.
You tell me how a rock can conceive.
I don't believe it can conceive.
But you said it did.
But no, your model is claiming that it did because it rained.
No. You said it
rained
did.
on the rock, and the rock, within that rock, heavy elements came out, and then we evolved from those heavy elements. That means that we were conceived from rocks.
Matt, if you ate some chicken and your body used the nutrients from the chicken, would you say that you therefore were conceived from chickens?
It's not hard to figure
Not
out.
conceived at all. It's a total misrepresentation. You're trying to oversimplify things, and it's ridiculous.
It is not a misrepresentation.
I still can't decide if Matt is dumb enough to believe that this is not misleading, or if he actually believes that the fact that essential minerals came from rocks is some form of conception.
It is complete misrepresentation.
Well,
you said a rock conceived.
then-
How does a rock conceive?
Then let the viewers decide. The viewers can pull up the article for themselves that says in the title of
I'll pull it up myself,
you
yeah.
owe your life to a rock.
I owe my life to oxygen too. Does that mean that I was conceived by air? To everyone who helps me out on Patreon, you're a big help. Thanks so much.